Hello, experienced learners. It's Steve. I hope that you are having a great week number 6. There are no grading events due for week number 6. As such, you can focus on your final project, which is due the end of week number 7 on December 12th. So I wanted to just briefly review the guidelines and rubric for the final project because when I've taught this course in the past, there have been certain areas where students have lost points. So we want to try to be proactive and make sure that you earn the points that you deserve. All of you are working so hard and doing a wonderful job in your internships, and we want your performance on the learning assessments for this course to match that. So you're going to want to focus on these what we call critical elements listed here. So we have you talking about an introduction of your internship, and then kind of reintroducing us to your internship, rather applying theory to your internship. So we want you discussing at least 2 theories, concepts, or principles from your field of study that align with the functions and tasks of your internship. You want to make sure you're addressing each of the sub-letter items that you see here. Number 3, we're going back to talking about our goals, what your professional goals were for this experience, kind of revisiting those goals, and doing an assessment as to how you've been progressing with those goals and how this experience is preparing you for your future. Finally, future directions. We want to look at what was missing in this experience. What do you wish you had that you didn't? And that's going to be the gaps that you see here. Questions and action steps. So what happens next? What further questions can you explore? What are the next action steps? Now that you are finishing this internship, where do you go from here? And finally, what would you do differently? How would you approach this experience differently? You see here, this is how I will be assessing your final project here, the critical elements, and then the different levels, quality levels that you see here as well. Other thing I'll mention about the final project is make sure you include a title page, that you cite your sources, and I really think it is helpful for you to section off when you're writing the final reflection paper to actually have sections that say 1, introduction, to make sure that you are addressing each of the critical elements. Now quickly, I want to go back to our announcements for the course. We covered a wide range of topics in this class, everything from your learning goals, the different types of learning goals that you could set for your internship experience, looking at the thinking and feeling dimensions of your internship, the motivation and goals that you have for your learning goals, how to effectively reflect on the experience, some reflection questions that we covered there, and then also some of the more recent announcements that we've had, looking at ethics. How does ethics play out in your internship? Any ethical dilemmas or situations that you may have encountered? Trends in your internship. So what are some of the current trends happening? How are you developing competency? Professionalism, developing your professional identity, applying the theory to practice model to your internship. So how are you utilizing your SNHU coursework? We talked a little bit about experiential learning theory, the different developmental stages of interns, your challenge comfort level, how you are learning to respect challenge and welcome challenge as it applies to your internship. How did you do a self-assessment? We talked about some of the angles or perspectives you can take on challenges and growth, the fixed and growth mindsets, processing your internship, how to balance education versus performance. So doing well, but also making sure that learning is taking place. The internship should be, of course, developmental in nature for you. You were given some fast feedback from your supervisor, and we talked a little bit more about reflections. So we are mentioning all these because it's important as you think about your final project to think deep. Don't just kind of skim the surface. We talked about all these topics in the announcements that can help you add some critical thinking or deeper analysis to your final reflection paper. So be sure to kind of go back and look at these announcements and think about a couple topics that you might integrate into your final project, adhering to the guidelines and rubric that we reviewed earlier. So as always, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, or insights, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great night.